Hey, what up, gamers? Welcome back to Dark. Alright, alright. Holy fuck. I, uh, I forgot to sing. Oh no. Oh no. I get away, I get away. I don't know the lyrics of that song, I just like it a lot. That's from Cyberpunk, I think. I don't know. Cyberpunk 2077. Let's. Welcome back to Dark Harvest Rambling. I think part 10? We're crazy, man. I was thinking about this today. I was like, why is my Dark Harvest series longer than Everyman Hybrid when Dark Harvest is just a significantly shorter series? And I kind of realized it's because I've gone way more in depth than I have on this series, than I have on Everyman Hybrid, and that's because people have made video essays on Everyman Hybrid. People have made explained series on Everyman Hybrid. But there's no, dude, I have searched all over the internet. There is nothing like an explained series for Dark Harvest or anything like that, right? And I kind of wanted to give Dark Harvest. There's nothing like even like a video essay discussing like how good Dark Harvest actually kind of is, and I wanted to do that. I really wanted to do that, so I did it. And I'm continuing to do it, and I'm doing it now because I enjoy Dark Harvest a lot. I really enjoy this series like a lot. I love it. I think it's very fun. I think the way that this series turns out is very different from other web like Slenderverse series, where a lot of Slenderverse series they get to this crux of like big outer gods and like there's paranormal shit going on, but it's not like it's like a different kind of paranormal shit. This series starts out pretty like paranormal, but it ends up at a point where it becomes way less about a big slendy guy and becomes way more about like there's a cult around the big slendy guy, and this cult they're the main antagonists. They're the ones that we need to worry about. Slendy Guy is almost like a secondary antagonist at this point because he doesn't really do much in Dark Harvest. He appears, he kills Greg. Rip Greg. Does the Slendy Guy even kill anyone else? No, not that I know of. The Slendy Guy doesn't even kill anyone else. The Slendy Guy, like, I think he kills Greg, kind of fucks with Chris's mind at one point. In this video, you'll see that this is a little bit spoilery to what's to come, but this isn't really the kind of series where we care about spoilers too much, so I will just say it. He does come back in log entry number 33, which we will go over in this video, and he does fuck with Alex's mind, but that's a whole other thing. You'll get time, you'll understand what happens there. Also, go watch the Dark Harvest channel, I swear to God. Go check out Dark Harvest. These motherfuckers deserve the views, dude. And it seems they dropped a video last month, so it seems like we could be back. We could be back, BB girl. But yeah. Dark Harvest is just great. I love this series a lot. And I wish people would love it too. Man, I wish people would love this series too. Cause man, it deserves it. I've been saying this since day one, BB girl. I've been saying this since day one, BB girl. Love Dark Harvest, or I'll come to your home, and I'll do things that are violent. Alright, this has been a long enough intro. This has been a long enough intro. Let's jump into a recap. So last time, Daniel Shipman had some realizations, but that's also his last video ever on the channel, so he's gone. Bye, Daniel Shipman. No, I'm not gonna kiss up to the sky for Daniel Shipman's exit. If the actor who played Daniel Shipman, Brandon Clark, got outed for grooming minors, and I only learned of that midway through watching the very last Daniel Shipman video on the channel. So, that's a whole fucking thing. This is maybe the longest intro we've ever had for a rambling series video. Usually I just jump into it, but today I felt like giving a little preamble because, I don't know, we're on part 10, so it just feels fucking insane to me. We're on part 10, and we're not even done with season 3 yet. We still have things to go through. Alright. Log entry number 31. Essentially, the recap is Chris and Alex's parents are dead. The Order killed them. Chris went to Heather's house to be like, "What the fuck did you do?" Heather calmed him down, and then the fucking Order came in and like shot Heather in the leg, and now Heather has a fucking wound in her leg. And at the end of entry number 31, they were trying to find a place to stay, and that is where we pick up. That is where we just jump into it, and this is where we pick up with the last 3 months, part 1 and 2. We will obviously go through them one at a time, so let us start. The last 3 months, part 1. The description of this video reads, August 21st to September 8th. We're still playing catch up with you guys. We have a large backlog of archived videos. A lot has been happening very fast. Expect another video soon. Early morning, August 21st, 2013. So this video, I think the events of log numbers 30 and 31 took place August 20th, I do believe. So this is pretty much right after, early morning, right around that time. So yeah. Okay, so the video starts, immediately rushing into a panic. They're bringing Heather into an apartment, right? They found somewhere to stay. They get Heather onto the kitchen table, they elevate her leg, all that stuff, right? And then we see who they were staying with. Matt Sharkey, the dude from the Rainwood Memorial video, the dude who was there at Greg's house the night Greg died, the one that Daniel Shipman wanted to talk to when he visited. Matt Sharkey, the person that worked for the Rainwoods, right? He, but also their friend. He agreed to let them stay. So, shout out Matt Sharkey, the homie. He's letting them in his domicile, right? And they once they get Heather on the table, they immediately start talking to Matt, being like, "We need help, right?" Dude's like, "Bro, we need to take her to a hospital." Chris and Alex are like, "We can't take her to a hospital. We can't explain why, but we'll explain it later." They say we don't have time to explain at the moment, but we'll explain it later. For now, we need help. So Matt says, I don't have any relatives that are doctors. I don't know anyone who's a fucking doctor. I do have someone though. He's not a surgeon or a doctor. He's a med student. And that's the only chance we have, because if we don't, very well that girl is gonna die. That shit's gonna get fucking infected, right? When Matt tells him that he knows a med student, Chris and Alex are like, Jesus Christ. They know it's their only option, but they also are like, this is fucked. Dude, this is fucked. Holy shit. So we hear Matt calls up his friend. We hear Matt's like, here, you talk to him, right? Chris talks to him on the phone. We can hear that And then we get a little note on the screen that says, I spoke with Matt's friend for about 20 minutes trying to convince him to operate on Heather's leg. He was very hesitant, but eventually he agreed to do it for the $526 that we had on us, and under the condition that he remain anonymous. Oh, goodness. So now they're broke. Fuck. So, so we cut to the next scene. We can hear Heather not doing too great in the kitchen. Chris and Alex are talking, and they're like, they're just talking about, like, couldn't they track my car? You know, how do they know that, how do we know that they're not, tracking us right now? Chris is like, we can't fucking worry about that right now. Alex is then like, look, man, we can't stay here. We can't, like, mooch off Matt. And Matt's like, nah, you guys can stay here as long as you need. And then, fucking, Alex is like, look, I feel bad that we fucking dragged him into this. And Chris is like, there's nothing we could do, bro. Matt just says, like, look, man, it's fine. I get it. You guys could stay here as long as you need to. All three of you. Matt, you're a good guy. Chris takes the camera into the kitchen, keeping the doctor's face out of range. And we see that Heather is getting stitched up and operated on her leg. And, she doesn't seem like she's doing too good, but also, this is the only good option that they have at the moment. Yeah, it's a whole fucking wild thing. Golly. So Chris and Alex keep talking a little bit more. Chris is like, look, man, I think you're being a little selfish-minded at the moment. All we can really worry about at the moment is hoping Heather is okay, right? And Alex is like, look, dude, they could track us so easily. And fucking Chris is like, dude, I think you're being a little paranoid. They're not the fucking CIA. And then, Matt's like, I just hope she doesn't actually die on my table. It's gonna be hard to explain that to the landlord. And Alex is like, is that supposed to be fucking funny? There's actually a girl dying on your table. And Matt just responds, look, man, I'm sure she'll be fine. I'm just trying to lighten the tension a little bit. I'm not accustomed to people bringing people with bullet wounds into my apartment. Chris then goes back in to check on Heather, and he says, I think she'll be alright. The bleeding's gone down. I think she's unconscious again. It'll be fine. She'll get some sleep. I mean, it's been disinfected. It'll be okay. And then Chris ends off that little part by saying it has to be alright. The camera then cuts to some text on the screen, and it says, in the days that followed, we talked about attempting to start new lives, assuming new identities, changing how we look, and finding somewhere to live on our own. The next scene starts. Heather's laying on the couch. She seems to be alive. And Alex is playing some sort of video game. And Chris is just chilling with the camera. Matt then walks in and says, alright, guys, I have for you 3 new identities. Matt really is the homie out here, because he bought these new birth certificates for like $500 each, which is insane. Fucking Matt also says he could probably get you guys some different documents. Matt has a friend that used to sell documents like these on the Silk Road, so Matt says I could probably get you guys different documents like driver's license and stuff Chris is like, we can't fucking pay for this shit, dude. We don't have money. Matt's like, look, I got a job, I got income, I can pay for this kind of stuff. Heather thanks Matt. The other two haven't thanked Matt yet, little bitches. But Matt seems like he seems just like a really good ass dude. Matt though ends that little part off by pretty much saying that he's just glad to help his friends. Kristen asks Heather how she's doing. Heather's like, my leg is sore. I'm fucking sore in general. We then cut to footage that takes place on September 8th, 2013. This starts. Matt says, you guys can stay here as long as you need, but getting you guys those birth certificates and those other documents has kind of left me without rent this month. You guys got to give me something. Chris is like, we literally have no money. Matt does say, he's like, I wouldn't be bringing this up if it wasn't such a big deal. Chris is like, look, there's one person I could ask. We're not on great terms, but I can't make any promises. But I will try to contact them and get money. Now, who do we know that has a large sum of money at the moment, but isn't on great terms with the Dark Harvest boys? If you've been watching Tribe 12, you would know that they are speaking of Noah Maxwell, who has just acquired a great sum of money from a briefcase sent to him by paranormal means. Oh, ooh boy, let's go. And that is, Matt says, look, if it doesn't work, we'll figure something out, but I appreciate it. And Chris says, yeah, no, it's fine. I understand. I'll give him a call. Then we cut to the next scene. Chris is now calling Noah Maxwell. Chris, he starts out nice, being like, how you doing? Noah's like, yo, I've been doing good. Chris is like, yeah, I have been doing not great. Look, Noah's like, is there a reason why you're calling me? Chris is like, look, I just gotta say it straight up. Me and Alex have been going through a lot recently. Both of our parents are dead. We're living at a friend's house, and we have no money. Noah's like, okay, I see where this is going. Chris is like, no, please listen to me. He says, no, I see what's happening here, man. I post this video where I come upon some magical fucking money. And Noah's like, look, I'd be happy to give you the money, but it's not. I don't know who the previous owner is. I don't know what this fucking money is about. He also says, and to be frank, I kind of don't believe you, dude. And Noah's like, Chris is like, you want me to prove it? Noah's like, sure, if you can, somehow. Chris is like, I have video. Chris then says, look, if you really want me to do that, I'll fucking do it. I don't want to go through that footage. Starts to break. We can hear that he starts to break down a little bit. Like he's saying these words a little bit through tears. Fuck. And Chris is like, look, if that's what it fucking takes to get a little bit of that money, I'll post it, because I don't want to fucking live on the street right now. Chris says, the only reason why I am asking is because you just happened upon a shit ton of money. Noah's like, oh, of course. Right? Chris is being straight up. He's being frank with him, and I respect it a lot. I respect that Chris is just being straight up and being like, yes, I am contacting you for money. This is what's happening here. But I have a good reason to do it, and I will prove it too. And, yeah, goddamn. And Noah also says, look, I'm only doing this just to make sure, because my trust is running real thin right now. Noah says, between everybody, not just you guys. Noah says, look, I still like you guys, because we have similar issues. Just post the video and you know. Noah just says, look, just post those videos. I want to make sure you're not lying to me. And then we get a little note that says, after calling Noah Maxwell, I compiled the footage from August 20th together. It was incredibly difficult. I had a few panic attacks as I edited the videos. When I closed my eyes, I could still see my father's body. Even now as I type this, I have a knot in my stomach. I'll post more footage soon. Ugh. And that is the end of the last 3 months, part 1. Now we understand that the only reason why log entry number 30 and 31 was posted. We also understand why the description of log entry number 30 was just, this is what happened. That description wasn't for anyone except for Noah. So, the video starts. Chris, Alex, and Heather are getting drunk. And Chris says, hey, guys, I found something out today. They found my mom's body. Tossed on the side of a highway. Went through all that trouble and they just tossed her body. So, I guess that's closure, you know? She was missing for a while and now we just know that she's gone. Alex then says, man, your dad was the coolest. Chris is like, yeah. Then Alex kind of tells a little like a little kind of joke about Chris's dad being like, you guys doing anything up there? You guys doing anything up there? Like illegal? You guys smoking doobies up there? One of those kind of, you know, dad moments. Oh, man. Chris is like, yeah, I miss him. Alex is like, I miss my family, dude. Heather's like, I don't even miss my fucking dad. And then they ask her what he was like. And Heather's like, he was just a cold fucking person. Heather then says it didn't even feel like he was living with us. I would have rather had a dad that joked around with me. There's like, he fucking hit me for talking back. Alex is like, damn, are you serious? It's like, yeah. It's getting a little bit of Macomber family lore. Her dad seems like a shitter. Dad seems like a fucking, like an angry piece of shit. Then like, guy's a fucking asshole. Alex then is like, hey, the fucking camera's on, you know? They're all like, what the fuck? No way, right? And Chris is like, oh shit, I must have left it on. Then they say, cheers to the people that have been with us for 2 years. Alex is like, about to be 3. And then Heather makes a joke. She's like, it seems like it's turned out great for you guys. You know, they all laugh about that a little bit, right? You know, they're just having some fun drinking. Alex is pouring a large cup up, and fucking Chris is like, man, that was my dad's favorite bourbon. And Heather's like, you want the last sip? Chris is like, yeah, I'll take it. And then Alex is like, do you guys really need to film me taking a shot? Chris is like, what, are you scared? And then they joke around about that a little bit. Alex takes the shot and he's like, oh, that was fucking gross. And then Chris is like, dude, the burn means it works. That makes Heather laugh. And then a little bit of like a camera distortion moment happens. Just a little bit of a whoop, right? We haven't seen that in a while. Seems like there's a big guy nearby. And then fucking Chris is like, Alex, you look like you're in pain, man. Alex is like, the bourbon was fucking flat. Alex says the bourbon was gross and the Pepsi was flat. Chris is just like, that seems like you're in all kinds of shit. Alex then starts to talk about his dad a little bit, right? Chris is like, I only met your dad a couple of times, Alex. is like, yeah, he's a really quiet guy, but he was really funny when he would talk. Alex is like, you know, my parents never really got along. It seemed dad worked all the time. Just seems kind of depressing thinking back on it, you know. On what I had, I'm almost kind of happy to be Kevin Jones right now. Uh, that's his fake identity. And Chris is like, that's a good way to look at it. Um, because we're not getting our old lives back. And then we cut to the next scene, and Chris is like, "Oh shit, Heather, you never met Greg." But yeah, they just kind of talk about how Greg was one of their best friends. They just go over to his house and chill all the time. And Chris is like, "Yeah, I knew him for like half my life." Rip Greg, dude. Alex then starts to feel a little bit sicky while drinking, and while all this is going on, some camera distortion keeps happening, kind of jumping in and out. Alex is feeling a little sicky. He's like, "It's all good. It's all good. It's not all good. It's not all good." Heather's like, "You're such a bitch." Just making fun of him for getting sick. That classic friend shit. And then Alex says, "No, no, man, I'm not all good. I don't need water. I'm about to pull a Daniel Shipman." Which in the video Cheers, Daniel Shipman drinks so much that he pukes all over the ground. So, Alex is about to go pull a Daniel Shipman, but he takes the camera with him, right, to document being a little sicky pussy boy. But as he starts to walk, the audio goes weird on the video. Camera starts to kind of in and out distortion. Seems like there's a big tall man nearby. It's the only time that ever happens is when there's a big tall man nearby. And as Alex walks upstairs, we see a big tall slendy guy for about a second. Then the camera intersperses between scenes of the big tall slendy guy in a doorway and then Alex throwing up blood into the toilet. He comes downstairs. He's like, "I just fucking threw up blood," and then he just like breaks down, drops the camera, falls to the ground. And then we get some... And while all of this is happening, the camera's distorting pretty hard in and out. And that noise is playing in the background. And Alex is just like on the ground, hunched down up against the couch, like crying. Chris is like, "Come on, dude, just lay down. Just lay down." And Alex is like, "I'm not fucking laying down. I'm staying here." Chris is trying to calm him down. And Chris is like, "Look, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. It was fine before. It'll be fine now. It's going to be fine." And we get a little note. Alex made a fairly quick recovery and felt fine a few days later. However, he never mentioned seeing what the camera picked up. Alex never saw the big, tall, slendy guy nearby, but he did feel the effects of it. And then we get another note. "At that time, I had no idea that thing was ever in the apartment. When I reviewed this footage, I was both frightened and confused. Why didn't it kill us like it killed Greg? It feels like it's just toying with us at this point." Which is a good thing to bring up. They haven't seen it in a while. They haven't seen it in a pretty fairly long time. And it kind of just shows back up. And, fucks with Alex a little bit, but doesn't kill them like it killed Greg. Yeah. Why was Goraleotep there? Why was the big tall man there? Then we cut to the next scene, November 3rd, 2013. Chris is recording himself while he's sleeping. Chris's phone starts to buzz, and Chris immediately goes to pick it up. And the person on the other end of the phone is Noah, and he says, "Hey, let me first off by saying I'm extremely sorry." Noah then says, "Hey, I saw the videos you posted, log entry number 30 and 31. Chris says, "So you saw what happened. Look, there's nothing that you could really do at this point." Noah says, "Look, there is something I could do. I know that the money that I have is not exactly... Noah says it's not exactly mine to give." Noah says, I think, it's not really mine to give, but I'm willing to give you $2K. I I never should have met with the order. That was a fucking dumb idea. Because I didn't really find out anything, and I just put you guys in much more danger. It says, and just knowing that I directly contributed to your parents, like, seeing you find your dad, fuck, dude. No, it's like, I don't even know what to say anymore at this point. Chris is like, yeah, me either. Chris then says, yeah, but thank you, and Noah just says, yeah, just give me an address to send the money to. Says, yeah, sure, and, thanks again, I really appreciate it. And then we cut to footage from November 26th, 2013. So in this next scene, they're sitting around a table eating food, and, Alex is pretty much like, I don't want to do this anymore. And Chris is like, what? Eat disco fries? Because they're eating, like, takeout food. And, yeah, that gets Heather all chuckly. That's a good one. So I love that. I love the disco fries joke for no reason. It's so fucking stupid, but it's so good. Alex is pretty much just like, I don't want to. I don't want to live in Matt's forever, and it seems like you guys are getting too cozy, right? Chris and Heather are like, look, we don't really have fucking options. We don't really know what to do, and we don't want to live here forever either, but we don't know what to do. Alex is just like, I don't know. Seems like you guys are getting a little too cozy. But, yeah, Chris and Heather are still just like, yeah, but we don't know what to do. And Alex is like, I actually have an idea. You guys won't like it, though. And the video cuts off right there. Ugh. And that is where we move on to Alex's plan. The next video is titled Log Entry Number 32, and we get to see what Alex had in mind. Alright, it's log entry number 32. The description reads, we went back to the Atlantic test site. Admittedly, this plan was formulated more out of emotions than sound logic. We felt like we had to try something. Life is starting to feel like a ticking time bomb. That's fair. Video starts with Alex looking at some papers. Oh. Yeah, the video starts with Alex looking at some papers that Heather wrote up. And she says that she's been looking at the overseer's signature for a few years now, so she thinks she knows how to forge it. And there's a certificate for all of them. Now, this is one of those papers that, you hand to the overseer, and you're allowed to come into the meeting or something like that. One of these. So what we know now is they're going to a meeting of the order. They're going to do something there. We don't know yet. So they pull up to the Atlantic test site, and there's a guy there. There's a guy who's, like, standing guard at it. And, they all put on masks. Alex is like, there's a guy at the front. Heather's like, yeah, he's always there. You give him the notes. Chris is like, alright, Alex, let me do all the talking, right? So they walk up to the guy at the gate, and the guy's like, hey, what are you doing here? And Chris is like, we're here, we've gotten permission to film the ceremony that's going on today. He's like, you guys got papers? Heather hands him the papers. He's like, these papers look pretty fine, but I'm just going to call this in to double check. And we can see Alex kind of slinking up behind this dude who's about to make this like guard at the Atlantic test site. So Alex chokes the guy out. They help him choke the guy out, holding his hands down and stuff so he doesn't break out of this chokehold. And then Heather throws the fucking little walkie-talkie off, and they start to head to the meeting. They also argue while on the way there that like I didn't know what the fuck to Alex is like I didn't know what the fuck to do, bro. He's about to rat on us. All this shit, right? Uh Heather's like, keep your fucking voice down. Come on. Come on. They're on the other side of the park. Let's just head to the fucking meeting. I know where we're going. So Heather leads them to this meeting of the order. They get to the meeting and they kind of just slink back behind the rest of the people while the ceremony's going on. And during the ceremony, we hear someone talking about how the time of the harvest is here. There's some of you that have seen our master, you know, that kind of stuff, right? So the meeting's going on, and then one of the dudes is like, "Wait, who are you guys?" And they're like, "We were sent here by the overseers to, you know, film this ceremony." And one of them is like, "Wait, I recognize their voices. Yeah, no, that's definitely them. Those are the harbingers." And immediately, pulls out his gun and he's like, "Get the fuck on the ground!" Chris and Alex both point guns at all these people. And they're like, "Stay the fuck on the ground. Get on the ground. Hands behind your head. Stay there. Don't move." Alex is then like, "What do we do?" Chris is like, "We have to fucking do this. Don't forget, they're gonna kill innocent people. Don't forget what they did." And while Chris and Alex are saying this, Heather's like, "All right, guys, maybe let's take a second to think about this. You know, let's take a second to think about this." One of the order members goes like, "No, please, I'll give you whatever you want." And Alex is like, "Shut the fuck up." Chris and Alex then proceed to shoot and kill all 5 of the order members that are at this meeting. They then decide to start checking the bodies. They then walk over to the order member who is seemingly able to almost get away before falling to the ground after getting shot from a distance. They walk over to that order member. Alex kicks him a few times. They yell at him to shut up, and then they rip his mask off. And it's Matt Sharkey, the man that they've been staying with, their friend. Alex is like, "What the fuck?" Chris is like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" So, Matt, while dying, starts to explain that he's always been in the order. He never really believed in any of it. His family was in it before he was, so he was kind of forced into it, like Heather, right? And then he also starts to explain there was this guy that came out to the woods. I think his name was Noah. Right? Matt then explains that, you know, Noah came into the forest, he was asking about his aunt, and then they saw it, right? Goraleotep. And Matt tried to leave because he saw that this creature killed people. Matt tried to leave, but you know, you can't just leave the order. If you try to leave the order, you're gonna die. Matt then also says that thing, it's not a god, it's a monster, right? Matt then says that he almost found a way, but then they killed Jesse. They cut his fucking head off. I couldn't get out. They would have killed me too. Chris and Alex then ask about, you know, like their parents, right? Did you know that they were gonna kill our parents? I'm kind of, you know, paraphrasing it. They're yelling this stuff at him, but Matt says he knew he couldn't stop it and that he's so sorry. Chris and Alex don't. They're running off of emotion right now. You know. Alex then puts a gun to Matt's head because, I mean, he's gonna die soon anyway. He says, "Matt, I'm sorry." Matt says, "I wasn't gonna turn you guys over. I would never turn you guys over. I just couldn't get out." Chris is yelling at him to shut up. You know, Chris doesn't seem to be doing too good anymore at this point. He realizes what fucked shit that they've just done. Right? This order has led them to fucking kill people. And, you know. Chris shoots Matt in the head, throws his gun down, and breaks down in the snow. And that is the end of log entry number 23. So it's a great video on the channel. It's an amazing video on the channel. And then we move on to the next video, titled To Forget. Chris starts the video by leaving us a little note. I told Alex and Heather that I wanted to spend a day alone. I needed to decompress and there were some things I still needed to do. Video starts with Chris driving out to somewhere rural, somewhere in the middle of nowhere. He has some tools in the car, a tripod, some pieces of wood, a hammer, just some miscellaneous items. He then walks out to a spot on the trail. Chris then finds this spot out on a trail, and he attempts to build a little, like, cross. He does one failed attempt before, but then eventually is able to get a cross up. And that failed attempt is a little bit funny because... It's a little bit funny, but it also is, like, very fucking sad. Because, you know, he, like, tries to make this cross, he tries to put it into the ground, and then the one piece of wood making it across just kind of falls off. Chris just, like, drops the hammer and just, like, slumps. He looks fucking dead and, like, done with what has happened in recent time. But Chris is able to build the cross. Chris then pulls out a picture of his parents, puts it down in front of the cross, and just kind of breaks down crying, says that he's sorry. Chris then, through tears, looks at the picture of his parents and says that he wishes he could have done something. He doesn't know what he's going to do. Chris then says, I don't know who I am anymore. I killed people. I killed Matt. Chris then breaks down crying and says, I'm trying to keep going. I don't even know why. Says he's trying to be strong. He says, I'm trying to be strong, but I don't know why I fucking do it every fucking day. Chris then says, to those of you watching, I don't know if I'm gonna be around for a while. He is now in the car and he's turned the camera to himself and he says, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be alive, but I don't want people to forget me. He cries some more. The video ends with a good, like, 20 seconds of him crying, and it just ends there. And then we move on to log entry number 33. Says, this footage is a bit older. It's harder to upload things now. We'll try to keep you updated. Now, the last 3 months, part 2 was uploaded in December 2023. Log entry number 22. No, oh my god. Oh my god, dude, I just fucked everything up. Last 3 months, part 2 was uploaded in December 2013. Holy fuck. Log entry number 32 was uploaded in February 2014. The To Forget video was uploaded in March of 2013. And log entry number 33 is uploaded in April of 2013. But he also says this footage is a bit older. It's harder to upload things now. We'll try to keep you updated. No promises. Right? After log entry number 33, we're going to get into an era of Dark Harvest where things are going to be starting to be uploaded a little few and far between. But I will go over the timeline as things happen. The video starts. Chris and Heather are in the car. Chris is saying that we're going to meet Alex somewhere. We only have like $90 left. He asks Heather, do you got like anything? Heather's like, I got my ring. Chris is like, we may have to pawn that off. Heather's like, there's like, man, we can't live like this anymore. Chris is like, you could run away. You aren't targeted like me and Alex. If you ran away, they probably wouldn't pursue you as hard as me and Alex. Heather's like, who else do I have, right? Even though it's a fucked situation, she doesn't want to leave Chris and Alex. And she's also like, and I mean, God, we just killed. Chris is like, we don't have to talk about that right now, right? We know, we know who they killed. Like, when are we gonna fucking talk about it? Chris is like, we don't have to talk about that ever. Let's just forget about that. We then cut to the next part. Chris and Heather still in the car. Heather's like, I ran away when I was 18, you know. My father's still in the order. My mother will do anything that he says because she's afraid of him. I can't go back to them. Chris is like, I'm not saying go back to them, but maybe staying with us is not the best idea. Other than that, then says something really nice, which is, you guys are the only family that I have. I can't let anything happen to you. Chris, I'm the only family that you have. And Heather says, look, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Chris is like, look, let's take one thing at a time. Right now, we need to meet up with Alex. We then cut to the next scene, and the car is seemingly broke down. Chris calls Alex, and he's like, hey, we can't meet up with you. Car's fucking done. Alex then says something on the phone, and Chris is like, we can't take it to a fucking garage. Heather then starts laughing. She's like, that fucking asshole. Jesus Christ, with what money? This is like, look, you need to meet us, and you need to come pick us up. And then he looks at Heather, and he's like, we must have taken a wrong turn or something, because we're, like, fucking far away. Chris then says to Heather that they were trying to meet Alex at a park so they could find somewhere to stay for the night. They then get out of the car, and Chris pulls out a weather monitor that can also pick up, like, police transmissions. And he says that if any police go by, they need to know about it because they can't have any police poking around in their stuff. If they get picked up by the police, the order will know definitely. We then cut to Chris and Heather back in the car. Chris is eating a can of soup because he's hungry. Heather then asks, hey, Chris, this may be an inappropriate question, but did you ever think about killing yourself when this all started? Chris then says, no, I don't really know why. Maybe it's because I'm scared. Chris then says, I don't know, I felt a sense of responsibility to you and to Alex, and I know it can get better. Heather then says, I hope it gets better, and Chris says it will. It will. We then cut, and Heather's talking about her dad. She says, tried to prove that I was good enough to be with the rest of them to my father, but everything to him is the order. I mean, Mark McComber is the oracle. So that meant that we had this position in the order. We were like a part of everything. We were respected because Mark McComber was the oracle, you know, Heather's grandfather. Heather then says, and I liked that strength, and he did too, but he fucking relished in it. And that drove him fucking crazier. Chris then says, I'm sorry about that, and Heather's like, no, it's fine, you can't change that. Heather's like, but once, you know, he got crazier and all that shit happened, I had to leave. I couldn't live in an environment like that. Heather then says, I didn't really have any friends. You guys are the closest thing to friends I've ever had. Heather then says, I do miss my mom, though. She always told me to stay strong. Chris is like, why don't you go back to her then? Do you think she would keep you safe? And Heather's like, no, I don't think she would. She also says, not against my mom or anything like that. I know she loves me, but I don't know. It'd be hard for you to understand. As we know, Heather's mom seems to just go along with everything that her dad says, right? Dad seems like an abusive kind of man of the house figure. And it's all tied to this order, you know? So Heather going back to her mom would just not be safe. Heather then says, I can't imagine what you went through, though. And Chris says, respecting their memory is part of the reason that I'm still around today. And then Chris ends that little part off by saying, where the fuck is Alex? We then cut the camera. Chris and Heather are with Alex now. And Chris is like, Heather, what the Chris is like, Alex, what the fuck took you so long, man? So, they're driving, right? And they're talking about maybe getting some food, because Chris is still, like, fucking hungry as shit. Alex is like, how much money do we even have left? Chris is like, I got, like, $90. They talk about, Chris asks him, like, how much gas you got? Alex is like, almost out. Chris is like, that's fucking great. You know, I just filled my tank up. And that doesn't do us any fucking good, because the car is done for. Alex is like, maybe we could, Alex is like, we can't even get it repaired. Heather's like, maybe we should just take it somewhere and get it sold for scrap. Chris and Alex are like, maybe, but they'd make us sign for papers, so it may not even be worth it. Alex is then like, maybe we can get some more money off of, he's about to say Noah, but then a little camera distortion happens, and Chris is like, Alex is like, oh, what the fuck? Oh, my fucking head. A little bit of camera distortion happens again, and Alex almost fucking runs him off the road. He talked about before this little moment that, he's been having, like, headaches and shit all fucking day, and, like, he's just not feeling fucking good. And his head is just, like, having these really bad, like, sharp pains, jolts and shit, right? Right before he's like, I'm pulling fucking over, and then he gets another, we see camera distortion happen, and then he almost runs him off the fucking road. Seems like there's a Slendy guy nearby. Last time we saw camera distortion like this was Slendy guy nearby, and then Alex puked up blood. Alex then stops the car very abruptly and just kind of falls to the ground on his hands and knees. He's not doing good, right? Chris and Heather are like, what the fuck are you doing, Alex? The hell? Chris gets out of the car to check out Alex, and we see a big, tall, Slendy guy nearby. Alex, we see, is now bleeding from the fucking, like, ears and mouth. And, like, nose. Like, there's blood coming out of him. Then, camera cuts for, like, a second. We come back to the scene, and we see that Chris and Heather are having to pull a gun away from Alex's hands, because he is trying to pull it up to his own head and shoot himself. Camera distortion still going on while all of this is happening. Heather then pulls the gun away from Alex, takes the gun, and shoots at the Slendy guy. Camera cuts after that. Yeah. And that is the last time they uploaded in 2014. Alex was not doing good after that. Holy fuck, Alex was not doing good in that moment at all. But yeah, that is the last bit of footage uploaded in 2014. And then the next bit of footage is uploaded in July 14th, 2015. We get a little update on the boys, on the Dark Harvest lads. The video is titled 2014 Boiler Room, and the description says 1 of 3. Get some text on the screen. All of this video is made up of text on the screen and just kind of showing stuff. The text on the screen says, Alex survived, but he wasn't the same. Catatonic, unresponsive. And we see footage on the screen that shows Alex just dead-faced. He would never speak when spoken to. Would often walk alone at night. And then cut to the next bit of text. We see Heather in a bathroom struggling, and the text on the screen says, Heather's leg wound reopened. It became gravely infected. She begged me to take her to a hospital. I gave in. Returned days later. No records of her could be found. She's been missing since. Next bit of text says, we had been living on the road for months. With no money left, I was forced to sell what had been our home and our independence. Sold the cars for scrap. I told the car dealer we were homeless. He agreed to let us live in his boiler room. I worked at the dealership cleaning cars to support the two of us. I never slept well. And in these scenes that are playing over the screen, we can see Alex just sitting in a chair, catatonic, unresponsive, blanket draped over him like he's got polio. Chris just kind of periodically coming in and out of the room. Then, cut to current day footage of Chris. Chris says, Alex hasn't spoken to me in months. He hasn't said a word since that night. That was one of the last times I saw Heather too. Chris says, I don't know how long I can go on with this. I'm surviving, but at what point? For what purpose, you know? His life has become a never-ending circle of fuckery and fucked. I think that's pretty understandable. Chris says, what the fuck is the point if it's never going to get any better? Chris says, I can't fucking handle this. I just can't. And then the video ends. Right there. And then we get the second bit of the 2014 footage titled Alex Woke Up. 2 out of 3 of the 2014 footage. And also, this video came out August 20th, 2015, which August 20th marks the 2-year date of Chris's parents, Chris and Alex's parents dying. So, rest in peace. Let us get into it. Okay, so the video starts. Alex wakes up. He fucking hits his head on the ceiling on this like boiler room. He hits his head on one of the vents of the boiler room, and he's just immediately like, turn that fucking camera off, turn that fucking camera off. What's going on? What's going on? Like he wakes up all in a jolt, and he's like, where the fuck are we? Chris is like, what the fuck are you talking about? Alex is like, where the fuck is Heather? Chris is like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's gone. Alex is like, Chris is like, do you not really remember what the fuck happened? Alex is like, dude, all I remember is getting out of the car, and then waking up here. So now we kind of understand what happened to Alex. He got out of the car, he fell out of the car, got onto the ground. The Slendy Man incident happened, where Heather shot Slendy Man, and Alex tried to kill himself, literally. And, that's it. That's, you know, after that, Alex went catatonic, but his brain also went catatonic. All Alex remembers is getting out of that car. He doesn't remember trying to kill himself. He doesn't remember Heather trying to shoot the Slendy guy. Doesn't remember any of that shit. All he remembers is getting out of the car, feeling sick, and then waking up in this boiler room. So the camera cuts and we cut back, and Alex is like, so Heather's been gone. So now we know that Chris was catching Alex up on everything that happened since the last log entry, right? Log entry number 33. Chris says that, you know, he really misses Heather. It's been a long time since he's seen her. So then Chris Alex is like, how the fuck did we get here? Chris is like, Alex is like, how the fuck did you find out about this place to stay? Chris is like, well, this is the dude that we sold the cars to. Alex is like, you sold our cars? You sold my car, dude? What the fuck? Chris is like, well, we needed money. Alex is like, how the fuck are we gonna get out of here if we don't have cars? Chris is like, I don't know. Alex is like, dude, you're not making any money. Chris is like, yeah, just barely. And Alex is like, this guy's gypping you. Chris is like, yeah, of course, but he's letting us live here. And he's not asking questions either. So, Alex is like, we can't, Alex is like, does this dude know that I'm here? And Chris is like, yeah, he doesn't know that you're awake, if that's what you want to call it. Alex is like, we can't let him know that I'm awake, because if he does, he's just gonna put me to work and then we're never gonna get out of here. Chris is then like, Alex is then like, how long have we been here? Chris is like, I don't know, 3-4 months. I've lost count. We've been here since like July, right? And we know that log entry number 33, the events of that video take place in like March, end of March, going into start of April, I'm guessing. So yeah, it has been like 3-4 months. So yeah, we got a timeline. July 2014 is when this footage takes place. Then cut to the next scene, and Chris gets a note. You are not alone. 1. Municipal Land Reclamation Ordinance 2347.j. 2. 112 28 15 12 23 81. 12 21 2 1 12 28 18. It's just a bunch of like shit written on a piece of paper. It's a bunch of numbers. It's a bunch of random shit. But it does Municipal Land Reclamation Ordinance 2347.j. That sounds like a location. And it's a note that Chris and Alex randomly got. Chris then puts a note in the video. Researching Municipal Land Reclamation Ordinance 2347.j ultimately led me to a small park, once a landfill. So, Chris goes to this park and he finds an envelope. In the envelope, there's some money and also a note that says, to help with 2. It's a circle and it says 2 on it. I wish to remain anonymous, in parentheses, a friend. So, we cut to the next scene and Alex asks how much was in that envelope. Chris says, when I counted, about like $5,000. Somewhere around like $5,000. 5K, 5,000, 5 smackaroos, you know what I mean? So Chris and Alex start talking about what they're going to do with the money. They need to get a car. Something to get from point A to point B. Wherever that may be. They're thinking of getting a junk car, but hopefully something that they don't have to put too many repairs into. Just, something that'll last them, but, not a lot of money. They then say that they need to protect themselves. And Chris says we could probably find someone to sell us something. So, some sort of weaponry. Right? Most likely pistols, guns, something. And then a third thing, food and essentials. But Alex also says if they get a car, they could probably live in the car, a big enough car. The first time in the series, Alex says we can't just run away. We can't just sit around. It's not good. Chris also says, yeah, I know. It feels like our time's running out anyway. Yeah. Alex is over being a pussy. Alex is over just running away. Alex is ready to jump headfirst into this shit, man. He's not going to give up or run away or hide anymore. He has nothing left to hide in, to hide with. He has he can't hide anymore. Him and Chris can't hide in him anymore. Their lives are fucked. Alex then asks, when was the last time we contacted Daniel? Then we get a little note on the screen that says, we tried contacting Daniel Shipman to no avail. We eventually got in contact with his business associate, Charlie McDowell. So, then we cut to a call with Charlie McDowell. Chris asks a question, do you know any way to get in contact with Daniel Shipman? And Charlie just says, no, if I did, I have no idea how to get in contact with him. Charlie then says he entirely vanished. Chris then says he's dead or he's gone. Charlie then says, I'm not entirely sure. Charlie then asks, did you see Daniel's last upload? Chris was like, yes, I did. But that was months ago. Okay. So if you don't remember, Daniel Shipman's last upload was him having realizations about how the Order is using him to do research on the 6th Enclave of the Order, and he's gonna release this video to shake up shit in the entire Order itself. 6th Enclave and the Order. Charlie then says that after that video was posted, they continued doing their work as they normally would, but the work that they were doing really brought the wrath down on him. Kristen asks, you talking about the Order? And then Charlie said, yeah, I guess you could call him that, but Daniel seemed very confused. I guess they weren't the guys that he was expecting. Charlie then says that, him and Daniel went to some place. It wasn't the people that he was expecting. And all Charlie can remember after that is, he heard Daniel scream, and then he was being cornered by 2 cops being questioned for stuff. He doesn't know what happened to Daniel, but all he knows is that Daniel's fucking gone. And then Charlie says that after that, Charlie was contacted by Daniel's boyfriend, and he had a bunch of information. It was just a bunch of information that Daniel had at his apartment that he had collected that Charlie doesn't even think he shared with him. Just a bunch of stuff. But all this information was stuff that Charlie had not seen, but it was concurring with the research that they were doing. And Charlie had a key. Daniel trusted him with some kind of key, so Charlie was able to get to this information. So Chris responds back and he says, that sounds incredible, but it's risky, right? Charlie says, yeah, that's why I don't know exactly how I can send it to you. Sometimes I feel like I'm safe. Sometimes I feel like I'm not. I don't know if I'm being watched or not. Charlie says he can get it to Chris and Alex, but it'll take a bit of risk from them. Takes coming up to a drop point up where around he lives. Chris says, where is that? Charlie then explains that the drop point is in Massachusetts. He has the coordinates for it. It wouldn't be hard to get to it, but it could be risky. Chris then tells Charlie thank you for the drop point and everything. He wasn't expecting this much help. And he also tells Charlie that, and Charlie says, well, Daniel trusted you guys, so, I hope this helps. And, Chris says, I hope he turns up one day, and Charlie says, yeah, me too. And the video ends there. The next time we... The next time we get an upload on the channel is about a year later, titled The Massachusetts Footage. November 4th, 2015, in parentheses. This video was uploaded on November 20th, 2016 by Heather. And let me read the description for you before we get into this footage. It's unclear what happened to Chris and Alex in the late months between late 2014, which is when I'm assuming the conversation with Charlie McDowell takes place, and the date of this footage. Chris uploaded 2 videos in the summer of 2015. What's strange is that while I was with him through the spring of 2014, he told me we shouldn't upload videos anymore. That was around May, I think. He said it wasn't accomplishing anything, but he still carried that camera around all the time. I guess it was a force of habit. And yet he still uploaded those videos in 2015 and curiously marked them X of 3 without completing the series. I'm still trying to piece everything together, and this was the first excerpt of footage I was able to compile that made sense. They were using at least 3 cheap cameras to record and look at everything together. It's pretty hard to understand the big picture, and there's still so much of it. The timeline was the easiest to fit in. The footage was the easiest to fit into the timeline given the context of what's already been posted. I'll continue sorting through everything. It's also worth noting that this seems to be around the time that the 6 Enclave completed its schism. Heather. Okay. 6 Enclave completed its schism. Whatever the fuck that means. But yeah. Let's get into the Massachusetts footage. So, this video starts. Chris is wearing a bulletproof vest. He's with Alex. Chris is talking about how they don't exactly know where the fuck they're headed. They could be headed into a fucking death trap or something, right? They do have the coordinates, though. He also devises a plan with Alex to stay a little bit back from me when we get around the drop point, just in case anything goes down. So, but far enough back that they can't really see you, but not too far back. There's a little bit of like from a distance bodyguard type shit. So, yeah. So, Chris walks up on the drop point. He finds the bag. He picks it up and then immediately falls to the ground. We hear what sounds like a bullet sling through. We hear Chris gasping and stuff, but checks around himself. He seems to be fine. Bulletproof vest was a good thing to have, right? He then has the bag and he hunkers down behind some like rocks and like trees and so, just stuff in the forest. Chris then zooms the camera in and we see some sort of member of the Order wielding a rifle. But there's something special about this Order member's mask. It's white on the top and then it has black under it. So like it would be white up here above the eyes and then right at the nose it would be black down here. Which is really weird. That's a special kind of Order mask that we have never seen before. So we see a little bit more of what's going on. That this Alex starts to sneak up towards this Order member. Chris runs past, so the Order member is distracted. He gets shot at again, but the Order member misses. Alex sneaks up behind him. Tells him to stand up, drop his weapon, guns him the fuck down. Chris then gets up the hill to Alex. Chris lifts the body up. Alex is like, we need to get the fuck out of here before any other members show up. Chris is like, what the fuck is with that mask? Alex is like, it doesn't fucking matter. We gotta go. I'm gonna go get that bag. Let's get the fuck out of here. And for 2 years, we did not get a video on the channel. And then, April 19th, 2018, we get a video titled vid_2018-0419, meaning video 2018 April 19th, right? onto the Dark Harvest channel. The video appears to be shitty phone recording of Chris in some sort of snowy forest. Video starts, and it's Chris. He says, "Heather, this is a message for you. I'm alive. Alex is still alive. I have to keep moving." Chris says, "I don't know where I am. I was being transported." And we see Chris turn the camera around, and he is covered in blood. Blood on his face, on his white hoodie, covered. Chris says he was being transported from one place to another. He thinks it was somewhere in upstate. He thinks it was somewhere in upstate New York. He does not know though. He says that he just survived a crash and he was able to escape. Chris says he doesn't know where they're taking Alex. He doesn't know where he is. But he says that he has to put as much distance between the car crash and him as possible. He tells Heather to not give up. He's still alive. Alex is still alive. He also says that he tried calling a number that Heather used to have, and it was out of service. Chris says that he stole a phone from the driver. It's like at 8%. But he knows that this video will get to Heather. So that's why he uploads it. Chris says that he's going to have to toss the phone soon, though, because he knows that the order can track it. He's just going to... There's a stream nearby, and he's just going to fucking pop the phone into there. Chris says if he doesn't die of hypothermia, he's going to attempt to make it back to the road and somehow try and get in contact with Heather if he can. He then explains kind of what was going on with him and Alex. Chris says that they captured him and Alex and they've been keeping him for like a year at this point. But we're kind of gaining a little bit of a timeline here. Chris and Alex were able to secure that dead drop from Charlie McDowell in 2015. And then they were able to stay hidden at least a little bit throughout 2016, and then by probably the end of 2016, going into early 2017, that's probably around when they got captured. Maybe sometime before that. Chris says that whatever happened in this car crash, all he knows is that they pulled off of a main road. They pulled out on some like side road. Chris could feel and hear that it was bumpy, but he knows that they have to be like less than a mile from like a highway. So he's got to put more distance between him and the car crash. He says it's going to be real soon that someone probably calls the cops. The order will know. They're going to track this phone. Chris just knows that for a fact. I think it's a pretty good assumption, honestly. And Chris's last message in the video is, "Heather, please do not give up. Please do not give up. Keep looking for us. We're still out here." And that is that little video from Chris. So, after that, about 2 days later, on April 21st, 2018, Heather uploads a video titled Update Number 8. The description of the video reads, Heather McComber 92 at gmail.com. So it's a Gmail link. So this update video is made by Heather herself. She starts the video and says, I know all of you are confused and concerned about what you just saw. The vid underscore 2018-04-19 video. Heather says, I'm also pretty concerned. Heather says, I think it's time for me to kind of explain everything that's been going on with me. Then she says, after that brush of death in 2014, where her wound reopened, and that stay in the hospital, she felt like she wanted her life back. So she wanted to feel like what it was like to live a normal life again. So Heather disappeared. But yeah, Heather explains that she disappeared to live a life of normalcy, which is, I think, understandable. That's what Chris told her to do in log entry number 33. She didn't do it at the time, but a little on down the line she did. She then says, in 2015, Chris and Alex were contacted by Charlie McDowell. So Heather has the bag that they were able to get off of Chris and Alex. I mean, that Chris and Alex got from the dead drop. So that means Chris and Alex have seen Heather since the Massachusetts footage. She says that she has Daniel Shipman's laptop. It's been like wiped or magnetized or something because she can't even seem to like turn it on. Heather says that they were even able to manage to get Mark McComer's brown book titled Revelations of the Sixth Enclave, or the Revelations of Mark McComer, but Revelations of the Sixth Enclave, and some Sixth Enclave documents also. Heather says that she's not even going to go into all of that information right now. She just, she has it. But also, Daniel Shipman had somehow found out how to get Heather's information. And that is what Chris and Alex found in this bag. And they were able to get in contact with Heather. And Heather had to help them. She couldn't be in hiding anymore, right? She had to go help them. Because those are her friends. That's, as she said before, that's the only sense of family that she has left, right? So, yeah. So now we're starting to piece together a timeline here. Chris and Alex, Heather disappeared for a while. Chris and Alex are living in some kind of like shit situation in the boiler room of a scrapyard or some shit like that. With some doo-doos jipping them. They managed to get in contact with Charlie McDowell sometime in 2015. They managed to get this bag. That bag leads them to getting in contact with Heather. And Heather gets out of hiding to help them. So far, this is what I will speak of of this timeline. I will try to piece together a full timeline after we finish update number 8. And for a long while, Chris and Alex and Heather were living together from December 15th to all the way to November 2016. Heather says that it was just really nice. They were all able to live normal lives together. They got really close. They could all talk about everything. It was like having a family. Heather says even if things were tough, they were going through it together. And it was probably the best time of her life. Fuck, man. They had a sense of normalcy for a while, and that's really nice. And then she says sometime in November 2016, they just disappeared. They left everything behind. Heather tried... oh my god. Dude. Holy fuck. I don't know what the fuck was just in my throat, but I'm dying over here. Heather said that she tried reaching out to them, and it wasn't working. All Heather knew that she could do, the only thing that she felt like she could do, was post the Massachusetts footage. In hopes that she could get any sort of clue of what the hell was going on. Heather said that after she posted that video, it seemed like the Order had been able to track her again. Their methods of tracking have become more sophisticated. They got her IP. Heather would notice like cars passing by her house or someone following her. Heather said that she had to disappear again for everyone's sake. Said that at that time she couldn't look for Chris and Alex and also fight off the Order at the same time. Heather said that she had to move again, and she never gave up on looking for Chris and Alex. Heather says that when Chris posted that video, she knew that there was hope, that he was still out there, and to never stop reaching out. Never stop reaching out. Dude, I'm getting a little emotional over here. I didn't think Dark Harvest would hit me this hard, but goddamn, dude, Heather's acting is so fucking good. I'm genuinely like, ooh, on the slight edge of tears over here, like some crazy shit. Heather then says, if anyone has any idea, or just any kind of information regarding all of this, send it to Heather's email in the description. Send it to the email in the description. That's what the email's for. Just for anything, you know. Any information regarding where Chris and Alex could be, or just, I don't know, anything like that. And then ends the video off by saying that she can't let the order take them again. She can't lose them again. Okay. So that is the end of update number 8. Let us go over a timeline. So, July of 2014. Alex wakes up. Someone sends Chris like $5,000 in an envelope. Right, no, let's back up a bit further. So, after log entry number 33, Heather's wound reopened sometime between those 3 months. Oh, God. So I'm getting hiccups and just all kinds of stuff. I'm trying to come up with a timeline here, and my body's fucking hurting me. So after the events of log entry number 33, sometime in those 3 to 4 months, Heather goes to a hospital and then disappears. Chris and Alex goes fucking straight catatonic after that, after the events of entry number 33. Chris has to like sell the car for scraps and stuff, eventually moves into a shitty boiler room and has to work to help him and Alex survive. Alex eventually wakes up. Someone sends Chris $5,000 in an envelope under a bench for them to help out. Charlie then gives them a call about a drop-off point to collect information, but they never go for it until over like a year later or something like that. November 4th or 5th, 2015. They go to the drop-off point to get the bag. They find Heather through the information in the bag and begin living together. And then in November of 2016... So yeah, like December 15th, they find information. December 15th, they, I'm guessing, like move in with Heather, begin living together, and then in November of 2016, Chris and Alex seemingly just vanish. Heather uploads the Massachusetts footage. Then she keeps trying to look for them for that long while. Eventually, the order gets back on her tail. She has to move again, doesn't stop looking for Chris and Alex. Then we cut to like April of 2018. We find out that Alex and Chris were kidnapped and being held captive by someone in upstate New York. They were being transported when the car crashed. The captors continued taking Alex while Chris made a run towards the woods and then sent vid underscore 2018 0419 to upload it to the channel for Heather to see. And then Heather made this update video about 2 days later. That is the timeline. That is the timeline. Holy fuck. That is what... We are done with Dark Harvest Rambling series for this episode. I think the next part should be the finale. And if it isn't, then it isn't. Either Dark Harvest Rambling will end in the next part, or it will end in the part after this one, or after the next. I'm not sure. Dark Harvest is not over. It is not over. We've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got about 6 videos left on the channel to go through. And all of them are pretty information filled. Some of them are pretty long, right? And that is because after this update number 8 video, Dark Harvest did not come back for another 2 years, and then sometime in 2020, they started uploading again. So, yeah. And in 2020, they uploaded about 5 videos, which was very exciting. And then, we hadn't heard from them for like another 4 years, and then in 2024, current year, they uploaded a video about a month ago at this point. So yeah. That being said, though, we will get to all of that in the next video. I'm hoping to finish it in the next video. I think I can. I think I definitely can. So yeah. Thank you for watching this one. Very greatly appreciated. I love you. Go check out Dark Harvest. Link in the description. Thank you for watching. Brofist.